Yo, Robert Ferringo back with Nolan Patrick of Strike Point Sports. This is part two, the deuce of our Hump Day Hero segment. We're going to jump right into this. Nolan, we're looking at Memphis at the Los Angeles Clippers, okay? Clippers, 8-1 in their last 9 games. They are rounding into form. They are starting to become the team that everyone kind of expected them to be. However, if you deep dive into the Clippers' schedule over those 9 games, starting with the end of March, they played a bunch of lightweights. They beat Detroit twice, Houston, beat Minnesota, beat the Lakers a couple weeks ago when the Lakers had nobody. What do we make of the Clippers? Are they peaking? Are they a team to be reckoned with? Is that going to continue to pay out at the window? Or by breaking down their schedule and looking a little closer at actually who they're beating, do you think that there might be some value going the other way against the Clips?
I like the Clippers. I think they're one of the more, and it's funny to say this because they are so good. I think they're one of the more underrated teams in the NBA. I don't think they're getting enough talk. That's it. Now I'm done celebrating the Clippers because I'm actually quite disappointed in the Clippers. And I will admit this, I actually gave out the Clippers tonight over Portland as a free play. I did a free play video for Strike Point Sports. And then at 6:34 p.m., Kawhi Leonard is now out for the next 3 games due to a sore foot. I'm just over that. I'm over
He's
guys.
managing his load, Nolan. He's just so much load management.
Oh, goodness gracious. But they've already announced he's out for the next 3 games. I was really excited for this Memphis Clippers game. I thought it was going to be great. Memphis has played, just so well as an underdog. They can score points. Ja Morant and company can get up and down the court. These two teams have already played each other twice, with both teams winning by 20-plus points. So I thought this was actually going to finally, the third time, was going to be a great game. And now Kawhi Leonard's going to miss it.
The Clippers have played well and have won games even without Kawhi Leonard. I mean, the way that Paul George has been playing over the last few weeks, so I don't want to say they don't need him, but they haven't. I mean, they're 16-5 against the spread in their last 21 games, to your point earlier about them being a little bit undervalued. They're 7-1 against the spread as a favorite. They will be favored in this game. So, do you play along with how the Clippers have been performing? Leonard's status be damned, or are you looking at Memphis?
I like Memphis because, to be completely honest with you, if I was a prognosticator, I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody like Paul George sit out of this game. You're looking at a back-to-back for the Clippers. You have Memphis coming into town. You already know that Kawhi Leonard is not going to play. This is one of those games where all of a sudden the Clippers rest 4, 5, 6 guys. They just throw in the towel on this game. They know Memphis is a tough matchup. Memphis is going to get up and down the floor and try to score a bunch of points on the Clippers. I would not be surprised to see Paul George not play tomorrow night. With that being said, I agree 100% with you that the Clippers will still be favored in this game. And I would be all over Memphis, but the thing that worries me is this is their 4th road game out of a 7-game road trip. And this is their 4th game in 6 nights. That is not an easy task for anyone, especially a Grizzlies team that likes to get out and go. So even without Kawhi Leonard, if Paul George plays, I think the Clippers are a small favorite, and I think they cover that line.
I feel like Memphis plays every night. Really?
Yeah,
they do. Look at their schedule last month. Like, they play every night. They're on a back-to-back. But it hasn't bothered them. They have covered the spread in 5 straight. They are 11-2 against the spread in their last 13. They are 21-6 against the spread over their last 27 games. Over the last 2 months, I mean, Memphis has been an absolute ATM machine. It doesn't matter who's playing. It doesn't matter who's not. It doesn't matter where they're playing or how many games in a row. I definitely like them, and I'm pissed off now. I almost released a 7-unit play on Portland on Tuesday in that game. Loved them in that home underdog role, even with Leonard playing. Now I'm a little mad that I backed up and I released it only as, I think, a 2 or 3 unit play. Speaking of Portland, they also have a big game on Thursday night. They also are obviously going to be playing on back-to-back nights. They are hosting Denver. Now, we talked about it last week with Denver, and I was able to make it pay out, how there was going to be a short-term bump. They lose Jamal Murray. Everyone is selling their Nugget stock. We see it every time it happens when an NBA team loses a star player, there's always that short-term bump in production from everyone else on the team. They covered their first 2 games without Jamal Murray. They've won 3 straight without Jamal Murray. They may be favored in this game because Portland, no Damian Lillard. So what do you make of this? Is Denver still riding that momentum, that motivated momentum of everyone stepping their game up because Murray is out for the year? Or do you think that we're going to start to see them hit a wall, and the fact that they don't have one of the best guards in the NBA is going to start to catch up with them?
This is just going to be a tough game for Portland. As you said, no Damian Lillard. He's not officially out for tomorrow, but he's not going to play. Excuse me. And Nurkic is out tonight. He's out tonight and probably going to be out tomorrow too. So, I mean, Portland is just, they're losing guys left and right. They're losing a lot of production. And that's the thing. And I'm not high on the Portland Trailblazers when Damian Lillard is not there. Dame time carries that team. He really does. He's the engine that makes that team go. There's guys there that we like. We're a huge CJ McCollum fan. You know, Carmelo Anthony is near and dear to our heart. He got Syracuse a national title, so we can always love him. But I don't like them without Lillard and without Nurkic. I think Denver is favored in that game. They'll be a road favorite, and we like them to cover. You know, Portland on a back-to-back without 2 of their better players, I just don't like it for him.
What if Nurkic plays? How does that change the dynamic here?
I think Denver will still be favored. I think they will still be a small favorite. I think that you see almost every single player on Denver playing, obviously with the exception of Murray. Nurkic will do his best against Jokic, the Nurkic versus Jokic battle that we've all been waiting for. But I just think that there's too many mismatches that Denver's going to be able to take advantage of. The wing athleticism that Denver has, similar to what we described with Philadelphia, I think is going to be too much for Portland. And I think Denver covers as a small road favorite if Nurkic plays.
Okay, so I'm going to let one rip on Portland here pretty soon. I don't know why. I am being very stubborn about this team. I feel like when Nurkic gets back to 100%, when they get Lillard back, I feel like they have just underperformed and that they're better than they have played. Some of it has been due to a difficult schedule. Some of it's just been to poor play. So either back me up or talk me out of it. I mean, they're 3-7 straight up in their last 10 games. 1-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 4. 2-4 straight up and against the spread in their last 7. 7-15 against the spread as a home underdog. They used to be an automatic play as a home underdog.
Oh, yeah.
That home court advantage is obviously gone. So am I just overrating Portland, or do you feel like I may be onto something here, and this might be a good team to buy low, because if they get healthy, their recent past production does not line up with what we see them trot out onto the court?
When healthy, I think there's a ton of value on Portland because they can be a difficult matchup because Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are just such a dynamic backcourt. And they're a really difficult matchup for nearly every single team in the NBA when it comes to those 2 players. But without Lillard and without Nurkic, I don't see a lot of value on them. Before they announced that Kawhi Leonard wasn't going to play, you saw the Clippers as a 7.5, 8-point favorite tonight. And I don't think that was that far off. I really don't. And, you know, tomorrow, if Lillard and Nurkic don't play, I think you see Denver as a 4.5, 5-point favorite in Portland. You know, the Clippers are actually a 5-point favorite right now without Kawhi Leonard. So this is just a tough stretch for Portland, you know, having to play LA and Denver back to back.
That's kind of where I'm going with this too, is they may lose both of these games. They may be home underdogs in both these games. They may not cover either of them, okay? But they are banged up. And look who they're playing. They're playing Denver and the Clippers. Like they're not losing to the Timberwolves and the Kings. You know, they're not home underdogs to bad teams. Like they're playing a tough schedule. They're a little undermanned. They're not totally in flow. But I feel like they're a team. They're one of those teams I feel like if they get in the playoffs, they're going to click and they're going to be tough. They're going to be really tough. That they can knock somebody out in the first round because they have that kind of talent. And I really think we're going to get a glimpse of it, you know, as we go through the stretch run. So I'm still buying low on Portland. Maybe not in this situation against Denver, but I'm telling you, I'm going to let rip a 6 or 7 unit play on the Blazers. I'm going to pick my spot in the next few weeks. I'm going to hit it. So, all right, people have been listening to us now for solid 20, 25 minutes, breaking down all the NBA, giving them a lot of great information. Now give them something for free. Give them a free pick. Got it.
And it is one that we have not talked about. I feel like we've talked about every single game on the Wednesday NBA card, but I still have a free play for you that we have not talked about. And when I say this, I talked about a game similar to this a couple videos ago where I said, just trust me. I like this game. And it was the Kings and the Hawks. You remember that? And we liked the Kings, and the Kings ended up winning. Similar kind of thing right here. The line is already out, and we like the Washington Wizards +2 over the Golden State Warriors. And here is why. Golden State is on fire. Steph Curry is a man possessed. And do yourself a favor before I go to this replay. These are all sports guys listening to this. Find the Steph Curry scouting report when he was coming into the NBA draft, and that guy should be fired. Do yourself a favor. But here's why. Golden State's finishing up a 5-game road trip that started on April 14th. So that's not too long ago. Starting on April 14th, they went to Oklahoma City, they went to Cleveland, they went to Boston, they went to Philly, and now they're coming to Washington. Okay? That's a lot of games since April 14th. Today is only April 20th. So that's a lot of road games in a short span. After this game on Wednesday versus Washington, they have a big game at home against Denver, who we just talked about. So smack dab in the middle, they have the end of a road trip. They have a monster Friday night home game against one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And you have the Washington Wizards, who have won 5 games in a row, and they have a dynamic backcourt in Bradley Beal and Russ Westbrook. You don't think Russ Westbrook's going to want to win this game? You don't think he's going to want to make a statement over the Golden State Warriors? And that's exactly what the Washington Wizards are going to do.
There you have it, folks. He's Nolan Patrick of Strike Point Sports. I am Robert Ferringo. We are both of Doc Sports Services. Be sure to check us out at docsports.com. Click the link below. Get yourself $60 worth of free service from either one of us or any of the other award-winning handicappers that we have at Doc Sports. Be sure to check us out next week for our next Hump Day Hero Wednesday video. Until then, carpe diem. Good luck.